YouTube family, good afternoon. It's 11:04 or 11:14. Good morning, actually. So, as you can see, my car is packed down. It's so much stuff you can't even see my baby. He's somewhere in there. He might be laying down over there. But yeah, so let me just get straight to the point since I'm so long-winded all the time. As you know, if you watch my channel, then you know that, and I'm sorry about the noise, we packed up in a hurry. I don't know where my DJI mics are. I don't know where my AirPods are to try to eliminate some of the ambient noises. I got the windows down a bit so that he can get some air, my dog, so that can poke out the window a little bit. It's chaotic. So the purpose of this video, honestly, the purpose of my entire vlog from day one that I started my vlog, it's about giving people a realistic look at what it takes to achieve your dreams sometimes. Most of what we see is always glamorous. Nobody truly shows you what the struggle is like. You know what I mean? What it looks like in those grinding years, what it looks like when you're on your way to the top or when you're on your way wherever you're going. Nobody gives you a realistic look. I don't know if it's embarrassing. I don't know if well, I'm pretty sure it's embarrassing. People don't want you in their business, all of that type of stuff. I know that those things are, that they're factors in those situations. But my YouTube channel, this one right here, it's about being as transparent as possible without giving away too much information, but still giving y'all a lot, enough to where you can say, damn, bro, like that's what it takes. Listen, so what's going on right now? I talked about it in the last video. I think I'm gonna make this video right here the start of a new vlog. And I probably shouldn't talk while I'm driving since the audio might be so bad, but because I know one thing as a filmmaker, you can forgive bad video, right? Audiences can forgive bad video, but bad audio, if I can't, like, I'll struggle to see something, but if I can't hear you, I'm not about to worry about it. But I wanted to catch this moment, like right now, so y'all can see all of this. The trunk is packed down. My girl's car is packed down. I just want y'all to see. Sometimes, man, things just come together in a way that create the perfect storm, and you really gotta claw and drag and pull to try to maintain. However, like I said, the main part, I just wanted to show y'all this view here. I'm gonna go ahead and stop it based on the audio because the traffic is kind of stop and go. And I think I'm about to get on the highway. I'll start it back when I stop in a little bit. I'll see y'all in a minute. All right, I'm back, and what a day it has been. All right, so getting back to where I left off earlier. As you can see, I'm in a new location. So basically, let me start the story from the beginning. So, and it might be a long story. When we first moved out here to that high-rise apartment downtown, I used, and you're probably gonna hear a lot of this stuff multiple times just throughout the months and years on this channel, because so many things play into so many other things, and so many things define or describe or give reason to certain other decisions that were made. So in order for the stories to be cohesive, especially if you're someone who any given video can be the first time that you're watching this channel, there's a lot of things that you won't know if you haven't watched all the videos. So a lot of these same themes, these same situations, I'm going to be repeating just because they make sense, or they help to make sense of the story. The way that we got out here is that I had some 401k built up. It was about 5,000 and some change. And if you might look at me and be like, you old as hell, why you only had 5? That's because I'm one of those people who, I did not have a lot of guidance growing up. And a lot of the decisions that I made were ill-advised. Because, and honestly, I think that's a lot of us, man. That's most of us, because a lot of other people won't talk about it. But like I said, that's the biggest purpose of this channel, is talking about these things and documenting these things so that other people can see what these journeys look like in more detail. You know what I mean? Like, everybody has some sort of story. most most A-list actors share a common story about having slept in their cars at some point, or they were waiting tables until they got their big break, or everybody's got a similar story, right? But they tell us these things in interviews. We don't see it like this, like I'm showing it. But when I came here, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't explain it. Yeah, so in addition to not having any guidance, when I was younger, I had a really bad habit of constantly quitting jobs. I would quit. If it was, I don't know, if it was something as simple as, hey, you can't have your phone on the warehouse floor. For me, it's like, I'm grown. You're not about to tell me I can't have my phone. So I would keep my phone. And then after one or two more times of somebody trying to tell me I can't have my phone, I'm leaving. You know what I mean? I'm trying to take off. You're not letting me have the day off. I'm quitting. You know, this was years ago when I was like this. I'm not like that now. But that explains why my 401k was so low. One, because nobody even told me about 401k when I was younger. I mean, of course, you would see it come up on like the paperwork for your job or like your onboarding and stuff like that, but I didn't really know what it was. I didn't have anybody ever talk to me about it. And I had no idea that your 401k follows you from job to job to job. So had I started putting into my 401k early on, like around my first job at like 17, I would have had a lick in there. But at that time that I took it out to come here, which was I think I booked the place maybe last October or November or something like that. At that time, I had what I had because I had only been putting into 401k I had two jobs at the time. At one job, like a year, maybe two, and then at the other job, about a year. So that's all I had, to show for that time. So I took everything that I had in 401k and I put it on the apartment to move downtown. You might say that was really stupid, but I was a bit naive. I was naive in believing that we would move out here. It's a much larger city. There's a lot more to do. There's a lot more opportunity, or so I thought. So I figured that within a couple of months, we will have found jobs and we'll be fine. And of course, I do cinematography, filmmaking, all that kind of stuff. I thought that I would be able to get some clients, whether that was like industrial clients to make some videos for, stuff like that. I did not think it would be so hard. When we moved here, I tried every single possible way to get a side hustle and make some money or whatever, but none of that stuff worked. I didn't get a job until March, and my girl got a job the same, like 2 weeks before I did, at the same place where we were at Sprouts, which I'm still there. She's moved on, but I'm still there. So that's why my 401k was so low. But anyway, I took all of that, put all of that on an apartment downtown. We were only able to afford to be there for about 2 months. We left there and we went and stayed with her aunt. She's got an aunt and cousin who lived 15 minutes from us downtown. So we had been there from basically March 1st to not Monday of this week. Today is Wednesday. So not the Monday 2 days ago, but the Monday before that is when we left her aunt's place because they sold their house and then they moved somewhere else. And so it's like, okay, we got to find somewhere to go. Now, we were not sitting on our hands that entire time, just not doing anything, not preparing or none of that. We were looking for apartments the entire time. I forgot I had the door open. We were looking for apartments the entire time. We were trying so many things. We kept getting denied over and over again. And so when the day came, it was like a Thursday. And on that Thursday, she was like, y'all got to be gone by Monday. We were like, what? It feels like it came out of nowhere only because we didn't have another option. Even though we had been trying for months. I think when her aunt told us that she sold the house, I think we had about 60 days from that moment. And we did ask for some updates between that time, and she never had an update. But then all of a sudden on that Thursday, she was like, y'all got to be gone by Monday. And we're leaving Tuesday. I'm like, yeah, damn. All right, okay. So again, we didn't have no options because from the first time she told us, we started looking and nothing worked out. So we booked an Airbnb in Inglewood, which is the Airbnb that you saw at the end of the last video. We booked that Airbnb. We were there for, I think, about 8 days. And then we booked this one this morning, and then now we're here. So just to give you even more backstory about the Airbnb situation and why I was kind of like seeming on edge when I did the first part of this video. And remember how I said sometimes I have to tell so many details because it makes other things make sense. The Airbnb, even though I paid for that first month, I paid for us to get in there, I did it on my girl's account. Now, the reason I didn't use my account is because I got into some legal trouble. I was lied on by someone. They said I did some crap that I didn't do, and I got arrested for it, but I did not get convicted. I had to do like 2 years of probation and some other things, and they got rid of it. It still shows as an arrest, so it's not sealed, but I was never convicted of anything because it was all bogus. But because of that, like, Airbnb did a random background check, and when they found that, I think at the time I might have still been on probation. That could be why they just went ahead and canceled it. But they canceled my account, so I couldn't book anything because of that. And so we had to book it on my girl's account. And so January was paid for because that's what the $5,000 was for. February she paid for. And even though we left on March 1st, right, we fairly paid for the 2 months that we were there. Even though we left on March 1st, and we might even left on February 28th, they still charged us for March. And we were talking to them and trying to work with them like, hey, we weren't even there for any of March. Like, we shouldn't have to pay for that. They weren't trying to hear it. So the fee or the amount for March still needs to be paid on her account. And she's standing firm like, I'm not paying for that because we weren't there. So as a result, we couldn't book a new Airbnb on my account or her account now. And so she had to ask one of her friends to book the Inglewood place. So we booked the Inglewood place for, I want to say, about 5 days, 6 days, but we wanted to stay a couple of days longer. The friend that she used to book the Inglewood place, for whatever reason, all of a sudden he didn't want to help us extend it. So then I had to reach out to one of my friends, and to make it all make sense so that we wouldn't have, because, you know, if one person books and then another person books, you have to leave so they can da-da-da, and then the cleaners come in and blah, 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 all that stuff. I had to come up with a story to tell the host so that I wouldn't have to just take all of our things out of the Airbnb, go sit some, because at this point, we don't have anywhere to go. If not for this Airbnb, we have nothing, or the Airbnbs that we keep getting, we have nothing, right? So if I would have had to take all of our stuff out of the Airbnb, I would have just had to go and sit in some random place with all of this stuff for about 4 or 5 hours until the cleaners got done cleaning, and then go back and put it all back in there. So I said, okay, how can I come up with something to get this host to not send the cleaners so that we don't have to leave and do all of that stuff? So what I did was I had to rebook on one of my friends' accounts. And I told the host that, basically I said, hey, the current guest that you have is a really good friend of mine. I'm coming into town, because and when my girl booked it, she only booked it for one guest, because 2 guests is a little bit more expensive. And so we had what we had. So she booked it for 1 guest, and that led to a bit of paranoia because there were cameras outside the Airbnb, and the Airbnb had a garage. There were cameras in the garage. So we were like, man, what if this dude looks at this camera? And also his place was no pets. Now my girl had my dog registered as a service animal. So for her, so that works out, because if it's a service animal, you don't have to report it as a pet. So it doesn't count as a pet. So we were paranoid, like, what if he sees a whole other person and a dog on this camera? Like, he might come and kick us out. We don't know where to go. So thankfully that worked out. Nothing ever happened with that. So again, when I booked it under my friend's account, I messaged the host and I was like, hey, look, so the person who has booked currently, that's a really, really good friend of mine. I'm coming into town, and so I'm going to book a couple of days right after him, basically. He knows I'm coming, so I'm going to add him as a second guest. And so because of that, You don't have to send the cleaners. You don't have to change the codes on the door. Like, you don't have to, because it had one of those, you push the little buttons and the numbers and it unlocks. I was like, you don't have to change the code on the doors. You don't have to do none of that. Like, we're going to stay in the same unit. And I think 2 different people manage that Airbnb. And so when I sent that message, I was talking to one person. Either that person didn't relay the information correctly or something was lost, because then he comes messaging the next day, like trying to get clarity, acting like something shady was going on, which I guess you could look at it and kind of say it was. But, so I got that cleared up and we were able to have our extra couple of days or whatever. But the guy he left it alone, but he started like texting back and forth between me, my friend, and my girlfriend's friend. He started kind of texting back and forth to try to confirm whether or not the current guest knew that somebody else was coming and confirm phone numbers and all kind of stuff. So I'm smart. I was able to get around it, thankfully. So this morning he was like, I'll be there at 11. Checkout is at 11. Blah, 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 whatever. So we were on the wire, making sure we got everything out and cleaned up. And we cleaned up really good because, again, we have my dog and he is a fuzzy ass husky. So his hair gets everywhere. He's one of those woolly huskies. So his hair gets everywhere. So we deep cleaned, make sure we got all his hair up, cleaned up the floor and all of that good stuff. And we were able to get packed up and get out before he got there. And so when I started the video that I started at the beginning that you saw, we were just now leaving the Airbnb. Adrenaline was kind of high because we were pushing, we were rushing. And so that's what that was all about. So that's the complete story about how that happened. And, if it wasn't clear enough, what's going on right now is essentially we don't have an official place to live. LA, it's been really tough out here to find a place to live. There are places everywhere. So it's not a matter of there being a shortage of places to live. Every block you go on, there are now leasing signs. There are vacancy signs. There's all kind of stuff all over the city. There's plenty of places to live. But most of the facilities want you to have a 650 credit score. That's nonsense. Most of us do not have a 650 credit score. And that's what's been kicking our ass. So, and also from the situation that got me in trouble, it was 2019 when that happened. That situation caused me to get evicted from my apartment. I would not have gotten evicted. But the person who caused the drama, they went to the leasing office to call the police. And them people came to me. I was at the apartment getting my stuff out. They came to me and they were like, Mr. Campbell, you didn't give us any trouble the whole time you were here. We watched your son grow up. Let me give you a tiny bit of information on that. So I moved into that apartment in about 2017, January 2017, because my son was born in November 2016. January 2017, him, me, and his mom, we moved into that apartment and never gave them any trouble. Like, never had no complaints. There was never a problem. But when me and my son's mom parted ways and she went and got her own apartment, I stayed at that apartment because it was in my name. Someone else moved in. When she moved in, she was all trouble. Pure trouble. And I saw the red flags. I saw all of them, but I just, whatever. Anyway, so on this day when this nonsense happened, she went to the leasing office to cause her trouble. But again, like I said, the next day after I had got unarrested, so to speak, and went back to get my stuff, they came down to the apartment and they apologized for the inconvenience. They were like I said, you didn't give us no trouble. We saw when you came in, your child was a baby and now he's walking and running and blah, blah, blah. They were so kind, but they were like, because of the fact that she came in here to do all of that, we have to let you go because, blah, blah, blah. So I lost my apartment that way. Because of that, I now have a $5,000 derogatory mark on my credit, which means that I can't get any apartments in my name until I clear that up. Now, the good part about it is that was 6 years ago. So next year it'll be gone. The problem with that is these credit companies, the debt collector companies, they're so shiesty and dirty. something could be on your credit almost about to fall off, and they'll keep dinging it to make it look like it was a recent hit, but it wasn't. So I have to hire somebody either to get to dispute that and get it off, or I'm gonna have to pay that money. So again, long story short, there's not much that I can do other than give money because I can't get anything in my name until that's gone. So that's also been a struggle for us because my girl is having to go on the lease by herself. And if you have a broken lease, most properties are not going to even consider your income. You can't even be listed as an occupant. Because, you know, sometimes, like, if you're not going to be the person who is, I forgot how it works. Because my uncle did it for me one time, a very long time ago. He got an apartment for me, but he put it in his name, and he listed me as an occupant. And I remember the leasing agent saying, people who are listed as occupants, we don't consider their income like for the apartment. I can't even be listed as an occupant. I can't do anything with this crap on my credit. So that's been, you know, a lot on my girl, and I hate that, man. I really hate that so much. But she been toughing it out. We've been working together, and really, I think that's the biggest thing about all of this is that it's teaching us to stick together, to work together. We get closer and closer every month. I mean, we don't have a choice. We're all we got, literally. Not to be cliche, but we are literally all we got. You know, it's to a place where we don't have family to reach out to. We don't have friends to reach out to. So it's just us. And currently, this is what we're having to do. Now, this is a nice place, right? And I know a lot of Airbnbs do long-term rentals because the one we moved into downtown, that high rise, that was long-term. We weren't supposed to leave there until September. So the lease was supposed to be from January to September, but we didn't make it that far. This place we only got for another 6 days. And it's kicking our asses because that's 6 days for $1,200. It cost us $1,200 to get in here for 6 days, man. Like, how are we going to be able to put money to the side to do everything else we got to do if we have to keep doing this? So again, I say there's apartments everywhere out here, but they keep wanting you to have a 650 credit score. And on top of that, they're wanting you to make 2.5, 3, 4 times the rent when rent be $4,000 in a lot of places. Who the hell, regular average person, is making 4 times $4,000? It's nuts, man. So we did tour a place today, which I will play in a few seconds. It's small. It's only 400 square feet, but it has literally everything we need. Full-size fridge, full-size washer and dryer, full-size stove, everything we need. It's just real small. The bathroom's tiny. The freaking sink in the bathroom is like this big. It's so small, but it would be ours. You know, it's so my manager at my job, I was talking to him just to let him know, because I knew I would end up having to miss a few days because of all of this nonsense. And I was talking to him, and he said it was really difficult for him. I don't know where he moved from, but he said it was really, really difficult for him when he came to LA. And he said what he did was he got on apartments.com and he filtered the results by private owners. And when I did that, I found this guy named Simon, old Korean guy, so kind, so nice and sweet. And we went to view his property today. Actually, you know what? I'll go ahead and roll it right now.
Okay.
So, corner.
Okay, and then how long is the lease?
1 year.
1 year.
Yeah, that's the minimum.
It's
How
nice.
tall are you?
6'6".
6'6"?
Yeah.
Like we don't. Great guy. Always good. Always good. Yeah, sure. Lovely.
Oh, water filter. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Does it need to be put in or?
All right.
Oh, this is really nice.
Then you got a nice
Do I need to fill out another application?
outside space.
Okay.
So did you apply already?
I applied through Zillow.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That's fine. So I'm gonna have to send you the power application, just a little more information.
Okay.
So that's his property. As you can see, it's real small, but it'll do, right? I mean, from March 1st to a week ago, we were in a 150 square foot bedroom. Me, my girl, and my dog. 400 feet is an improvement. So if we did that for 8 months, almost a year, we can do a year lease with 400 square feet. And we already said sometimes like she knows someone, and we've heard many other people say this. It is so hard to get somewhere to live in LA that when people get somewhere to live, most people, average people, when they get somewhere to live, even when they start doing better, they keep that property and they just sublease, because I don't want to lose this property that was so difficult to get in the first place. God forbid things get bad again. I have this to fall on, you know? So that's pretty much what we said we're going to do. If whatever spot we do get, as life gets better, as we start making more money and, you know, credit gets cleaner and we start to be able to, because where we want to live is a place called Lumina in Hollywood. It's amazing. So let's say we can get in Lumina finally. Simon's place in Koreatown, we wouldn't get rid of it because it's too hard to find somewhere to live. So we would just lease it out. But that's where we are right now. I'm sorry this was so long. It was such a long story. You know what I think? I think I'm going to let this be a video all by itself because this was a lot. But that's what's happening right now. Actually, and I'll give y'all a tour of this place. It is so nice. I told myself I was going to ask the host, would they consider a long-term lease? But then I thought about it. I'm like, we just paid these people $1,200 for 6 days. Ain't no way. If you can make $1,200 in 6 days, you're not about to let me pay you $2,000 for the month. But my girl was like, well, that depends on how many bookings they're getting. Fair. So I might still ask. And any car lovers out there, he's got a Skyline. It's amazing. It's like a 95 Skyline. Pristine condition sitting out front. Anyway, so it was one more thing I was going to say. What was it? I'm sorry. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to do a tour. So as you can see, though, studio apartment. That view is pretty nice. Also got everything we need. Huge walk-in closet right there. Restroom is right there. The only thing I don't like is it doesn't have a private entrance. This is literally in their backyard. I wish, so there's a wall. So in the backyard, you can walk around and there's like a side, I don't know, a side of the house area where you can walk through, but there's a wall right there. If this was my place, I would cut that out. Because if I was going to be renting this space out, there's plenty of street parking. It should have been in a way where people could just park over there and walk through here. It would still be in their backyard, but I'm going to show you, coming from that way is deep in their backyard. And they have 2 dogs as well. I don't be liking my dog interacting with other dogs because I think other dogs are crazy. Her aunt's daughter, where we just came from, had a Doberman who has tried to attack my dog already. And my dog is so chill. He barely even barks at people. He's so relaxed. I mean, he's in here now. You ain't heard him make a peep. It's people walking by. You ain't heard him bark one time. My dog's not one of them dogs that every time somebody passes, "Arr, arr, arr." That's not him. He will look at you and just go sit down somewhere. Like even now, he's just walking. Hey, Aries. Anyway, so let me give y'all a tour. I've been talking too long. Let me give y'all a tour of this place so y'all can see what it looks like. Here's the front door. Hey, I love this little deal right here. But anyway, let me open the door because I told y'all I was going to show y'all what the yard looks like. So let me close this back real quick, though. I call this the medieval door. So open this up. So you can see over into someone else's yard, but like, look how beautiful this is. Super pretty. But they got hella fruit trees. There's one right there. There's one here. Like, look at these views, man. Good old LA. So, anyway, so you go down the stairs and you go left where you see the building end at. You go to the left. Now, this building is on top of their garage. But that's the back of their house. And then you would go out. But what I was talking about is, you see that pathway right there? It would be so easy to just walk out. There should have been a door right there, right? And maybe like a little gate right here to keep people, you know, from exploring your yard. That would be so much easier. But anyway, let's come on in. All right. So, please don't hold. Okay, it didn't close hard. Anyway, I didn't want it to slam. That's like a little utility closet. Little built-in shelves. We got one of our totes here, and it opens up to this. There's Aries. Say hello, Aries. Yeah. Anyway, so full-size fridge. Somebody's a San Diego Padres fan. Anyway, all right, full-size stove, full-size microwave, granite countertops, toaster oven. Got a little coffee pot, but I'm gonna use my Keurig. Plenty of cabinet and counter space. I like these little, I don't even know what you call these, shutter blinds. Anyway, look at the old cacti out there. All right, so got this nice glass table. You know I gotta have my monitor, bro. One thing I'm gonna do is play that game. Full-size washer, dryer, stackable units. Huge walk-in closet. Come on, man. I mean, really, man. Huge walk-in closet. You know, nice little L-shaped couch. Bed over in the corner. French balcony doors. Here's the restroom area. Nice shower. This shower looks just like the shower y'all saw earlier that I showed the Koreatown home. And then you got this beautiful view right here. Let me open this door. Keep it from slamming. Look at this, man. Look how gorgeous this is. Here's what's even crazier. The stop sign down there, you can't really see it. I'm not going to zoom in, but not this one right here where that car just stopped at. The stop sign past it. If you go to that stop sign down there and make a left, 1 block is literally where we were living at her aunt's house. But yeah, beautiful place. Absolutely beautiful. And both sides of this door open as well. I just closed it back because the wind was making them jump a little bit. But anyway, yeah, so I'm going to let this be one video by itself. And that's that, man. So we're both kind of like, yo, we definitely need to ask them if they will be willing to do a long-term lease. Because I can see us being here for a year. This is chill. There's plenty of space. Now, we do still have a whole lot of stuff in Houston that we have not gone back to get yet. And I say we wait until we get, let me sit this back down. Sorry. I say we wait until we get a large enough space. There's a low income property that we're waiting on as well that she applied to a while ago. It's called Miramar Gold or something like that. So we're waiting on them. It's a 2-bed, 1-bath. We definitely could use that second bedroom for storage, and we both need office space. So we could sit perpendicular. She can have one wall going this way, and I can have the other one going that way. So there's nothing behind either of us. So that's something that we've been hoping for and talking about. And that's closer to downtown. Also like that was more Chinatown area. But yeah, so that's that. I'm gonna let this video end right here. Like I said, this is 30 straight minutes of talking. I apologize, but I had to let y'all know what's been going on, what the story is. I got more to talk about what's been happening this whole year, this whole 10 months, but I will do that in another video and spare y'all all that yapping. See y'all next time.